right, so today we're going to divide decimals, and what we talked about is if we take 72 hundredths and we try to divide it by 3 hundredths, we can't really do it using our regular division unless we turn this 3 hundredths into a whole number. So we called this one the big boss because this one sets the rule. The number that you're dividing by is going to set the rule. So in order to turn 3 hundredths into a whole number, we need to hop our decimal 2 places to the right, which is the same thing as multiplying by 100. If we took 3 hundredths and multiplied by 100, we would get the number 3. The way math works, as long as you do the same thing to the other number, then you're going to keep it equivalent. And so if I hop my decimal 2 places to the right here, I'm going to go over here and do the same exact thing, which is the same thing as, again, multiplying by 100. So essentially what we did was we changed our problem into 72 divided by 3. And we talked about long division again. Some reminders. One thing that I tried to help the kids with to remember the order is, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? So if they're struggling on what's my next step, D stands for division, M for multiplication, S is subtraction, check, and B is our bring down. So 72, the decimal's technically at the end, and it's important to put it there because sometimes it doesn't come out to a whole number. Sometimes we have to keep adding zeros and continue. And another thing that we talked about is it's really important to make sure that above every digit there's a digit, even if it's a zero. A zero is very important. So if I'm trying to divide 7 divided by 3, I know that 3 can go into 7 2 times. So I just did my division step, and now I'm on to my multiplication. I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to multiply it by 3 and get 6. And then I subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. And when I do my check, I have to make sure that this number is smaller than this one. If not, then I need to go and check the number that I just divided. And then I bring down my 2. 3 can go into 12 4 times. I just divided 3 into 12 and got 4. And then I'm ready to multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. I subtract. And I ended up with 0. So I know that my answer is 24. I'm going to show one more example. Works the same way. So if I start with 96 hundredths and I want to divide it by 4 tenths, the thing I need to remember is I cannot divide by a decimal. So this one is the one that tells every other number, tells this number what to do. It's the big boss. So I know that in order to make this into a whole number, I have to move my decimal 1 place to the right, and it becomes a 4. So I go over here, and Big Boss told Baby Boss, do the same thing. So I move the decimal 1 place to the right. I don't worry that I have a decimal here. The only thing you really need to worry about is that we turn this into a whole number. So my new problem says 9 and 6 tenths divided by 4. I always tell the kids the first one on the bus gets the inside seat. So this number needs to go on the inside. I bring my decimal straight up before I do anything else. And I start to do my division. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Once again, division, multiplication, subtraction, check, and bring down. I first try to take 4 into 9. 9 divided by 4 is 2. So then I multiply my 2 times 4 and I get 8. It's time to subtract. Check, yep, 1 is smaller than 4, I'm good to go. So I'm going to bring down the 6. So I'm back over to division again. And I see how many times 4 can go into 16. 4 can go into 16 4 times, because 4 times 4 is 16. I subtract. I have no more digits to bring down, and I ended up with a 0. If I had had what we used to call a remainder, let's say I ended up with a 3, I'd have to add a 0 and bring the 0 down and keep going until it terminates or it repeats. But I end up with the answer of 2 and 4 tenths. All right, thank you.